Did you know that most parents actually save way too much money for their kids' college? It's true. So why is the average grad still leaving college with $30,000 in student loans? Hey everyone, Matt here from Family Money School. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how much you need to save for your kids' college. And spoiler alert, if you follow these simple steps, you'll need to save a whole lot less than you probably think. Okay, first up, you'll need to determine how much college will cost for your kiddo. At first glance, this seems pretty simple. To set a savings goal for college, first find out how much you're likely to pay at the kinds of schools your kids would like to attend. Now, the cost of attendance, or COA, is listed by all colleges and universities. And it includes things like tuition, fees, room and board, supplies, transportation, and personal expenses. Now, how much you need depends entirely on what type of school your kiddo will attend. And I mean, even though that decision is still many years off, it's super important that you have an idea of the level of education that you're prepared to help fund. For example, according to College Board, the cost for a public 4-year in-state school is $22,690. But for an out-of-state student, that cost skyrockets to $39,510. And if you want to go to a private school, well, that's going to run you an average of $51,690 a year. On the other side of the spectrum, you could go to a 2-year in-state school, like a community college, and only pay $13,130 before transferring to a 4-year school to complete your degree. Now, doing that could save you a cool 20 grand or so. Now, in addition, you can save huge money if you live within commuting distance to a college. Now, an overwhelming majority of people live in cities, and these urban settings have tons of opportunities to pursue post-secondary education. And even more people live within driving distance of one of the many smaller college towns that dot the landscape. Now, if that's you, you can let your kiddo live at home and save some serious cash to the tune of around 10 grand a year. That's $40,000 over 4 years. So, I mean, yeah, there can be a massive difference in cost depending on where and how your kiddo goes to school. For example, if your kiddo goes to a community college for the first 2 years, transfers to an in-state public school, and lives at home, it'll cost around $29,000. Now, if they move away to go to a private college, well, that's going to cost over $200,000. Now, not everyone has the option to live at home. I mean, some people don't live close to a school and others have family circumstances that just make it difficult. The point is, even though you can't control where your kiddo goes to school, you can decide what you're willing to fund and hopefully stack the deck to kind of nudge your kiddo to make a wise financial decision. While finding the COA today is easy, one of the trickiest parts of saving for college is that it's a ways off. I mean, 5, 10 years, maybe more, and you'll need to figure out how much it will cost at that time. Recently published data from the College Board shows that between 2020 and 2021 and 2021-22, tuition rates increased by 1.6% at public 4-year colleges and 2.1% at private nonprofit schools. Historically, though, the increase has been closer to 5%. So to play it safe, factor in for a 5% increase in tuition every year. This will give you enough of a buffer to be able to withstand any fluctuations in costs. Now, to figure out how much you'll pay, check out the very handy college cost projector from Vanguard. Now, not only will it give you up-to-date information on college tuitions across America, it will also project how much money you'll need to save given the rising cost of education. For example, a standard 4-year in-state college that costs $22,690 today could cost $39,825 in 10 years if costs increase at the historical rates. I mean, that's over $68,000 over 4 years. I mean, that is crazy. Now, so far we've been dealing with the prices that schools publish every year, but it's important to understand that a gap usually exists between a school's published prices and what many students actually pay. And this is because many students are eligible for financial aid and other reductions, meaning lots of people pay significantly less. For example, The average tuition, according to the College Board, for a public in-state school is $22,690. But that's before taking into account grant aid and tax benefits, which reduce the tuition to just a little over $19,000. And that's a savings of almost $18,000 over the course of a 4-year degree. To apply for grants and federal aid, you'll want to fill out the U.S. Department of Education's free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA. Now, for my Canadian peeps, you apply through your province's grants and loan services, and you can check out the links below. Now, since your kiddo is likely a few years away from actually attending college, the Department of Education has an online tool called the FAFSA Forecaster that you can use to see how much federal aid you might expect to receive. For example, for a family of 5 living in Texas with a household income of $125,000 and assets of $305,000, the FAFSA Forecaster estimated an expected family contribution of a little over $38,000. Now, that's just an estimate for what you need to pay, but keep in mind, that's for today. Which means if the cost increases by 5% every year and your kiddo is 10 years away from going to college, you'll need to save $62,985. And that's for one kid. But what if you have more than one? Well, get out your calculator again, because you're going to have to do the same math for each kiddo using that exact same expected family contribution number. For my family, since I've got 2 more kiddos, one 6 and the other 2, the estimates for their college would be around $70,000 and $85,000 for a grand total of over $217,000. That is crazy. Now, that's the total if you plan to pay for all of your kids' college. But for my wife and I, we don't. We'll pay a portion, but we want them to have some skin in the game. In my experience, when kids pay for part of their education, they place a higher value on it and take it more seriously. I mean, I can remember kids in college cutting class, and far and away, the ones who did it most often were the ones whose parents were footing the bill. Now, for us, we expect our kids to work as teenagers in the summer, during high school, and in college. In a good summer, assuming they work 40 hours a week and only make minimum wage, depending on where you live, they can make anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 in a summer in high school. And in college, with a longer summer break, you can make upwards of $8,500. If they work for 2 years in high school, then over the summers in college, they can make in the range of $30,000 to $40,000. Now, they'll have some expenses like a vehicle, gas, insurance, and having some fun, so not all that money will go to paying for school. But let's say they save even half, or around $20,000. That's a big chunk of the total cost they can put towards funding their future. And it's money that you won't have to pay. Next, you'll need to figure out how much you'll need to save each month. This will depend on the total cost you'll need to fund and how long it'll be until your kiddo begins attending college. Now, when it comes to saving for your kid's college, the earlier you start, the better. I mean, as with any type of investment, the longer the money is invested, the more time it has to grow, and the less of your own money you'll need to sock away due to the amazing power of compounding. So if your kiddo is 10 or more years away from college, you've got ample time to save. If, on the other hand, your child is only a few years away from hitting the books in university, you'll still be able to help them out. It'll just mean that you'll need to save more money every month than you would have if you would have started earlier. How much more? Well, depending on when you decide to start saving, the actual amount you'll have to save out of pocket can vary wildly. Let's look at 3 different scenarios, starting to save at birth, at age 8, and at age 15. Now, investor.gov has a great calculator that you can use to do all the math for you, and I've linked to it in the description below. Given that we've already calculated the cost of college inflation using the Vanguard calculator, we'll put the cost of inflation at 0%. We'll assume that you have no money to start with, and when you put in the dollar amount that you plan to save, just put in $100 a month for now. I mean, this can and will need to be adjusted after, so it's not critical what you put in there for right now. If you plan on investing in stocks inside of your educational savings account, a 529, and for my Canadian peeps, an RESP, use 7% for your expected return. If you want to be a little bit more conservative and use a split of 60% stocks and 40% bonds, use 4%. Next, fill in the age of your kiddo and when you're expecting them to start college. And finally, you'll need to put in values for tuition and room and board. To do that, use the expected family contribution number that we calculated previously. Remember, that's the amount you've estimated you'll actually have to pay out of pocket after taking into account any grants or aid that you'll receive. For our example family living in Texas, it was $62,985 for all 4 years. But we also anticipated having our kids work in the summer to help pay for school to a tune of $20,000. So what we'll need to do is subtract $20,000 from that total expected family contribution for a total of $42,985. Now for this calculator, you need to use a single year value. So simply divide by 4 to get the yearly cost of $10,746. Then you'll need to enter an amount for both room and board and tuition. Now you can split this up any way you like, it doesn't really matter. For our example, we'll use $6,000 for room and board and $4,746 for tuition. Then click Calculate. For our example, you can see at the top that it tells you your total expenses will be $42,494 and that you'll need to save $170 every month to reach this goal in 10 years. $170 a month or $28,560 over the 14 years until your kiddo walks across the college stage. Not atrocious if you start saving at age 8. But if you start saving at birth, the number looks way better, with you only needing to save $79 a month for a total of $20,856. Thousands less than if you'd waited until they were 8. But if you wait until your kiddo is in their teens, well, that's when things can start to get a bit scary. For example, if you waited until your kiddo was 15 to start saving, you need to put away $443 a month. That's an out-of-pocket total of over $37,000, almost twice as much as if you'd started when they were born. The reality is that if you do these things and start saving early, you'll be well on your way to giving your kiddo a financial head start by allowing them to graduate debt-free. But a huge part of making this happen is your teen finding a great paying summer job so that they can stash away a ton of cash to pay for school. Which is why in the next video, I'll show you exactly how they can do this with the complete guide to finding an absolutely amazing summer job. I'll see you there.